Hello and welcome to the Debrief with your host, Miney for Wednesday, May 1st, 2024. It's a new podcast, guys. What's this one, you might ask? Well, the Debrief, to put it simply, is our editorial podcast. I'm going to be using this place to talk a little bit more about the series that we're doing, the content we're producing, and look back at the content we've produced in the last month and sort of deep dive into it and talk a little bit about what's coming up as well in the following month. So, yeah. Let's get into it, shall we? So, yeah, the main reason why I've created this podcast is a separate thing, which is my thing. It's my baby. I'm pointing to myself, but you can't see me. This project is mine. No one else is generally involved with this project. I may end up bringing on like a guest if there's a particular reason to. Like when we launch new series, I might bring on the host of that or the creator of that series. Like we have two new projects in the works at the moment that are not really organised by me. So when they happen, I may bring those people on as guests to talk a little bit about those projects. But I myself primarily will be hosting this podcast, and I apologise if I'm sounding ill. I've not been ill like all day, but apparently now I've got a bunged up nose right as I go to record this. Like what are the odds, huh? I swear, like if you listen back to like the past couple of weeks of months of content, you're like, Manny's always ill. I'm like, I'm not. I'm just for whatever reason when we come to record stuff, I am ill. But yeah. So essentially, this is a solo podcast primarily for me to sort of talk about the content on the channel. Talk a bit more about the amazing people behind the channel because the team is ever growing. I think at this point we're on like let me quickly double check the exact amount, but I think we're on like 7, 8 people at this point. Like the team is ever growing, and I am very proud of the team that we have. We have 8 people on the team currently, and a couple of others helping out, little like, but not officially sort of part of the team. So in total, in terms of people, sort of like helping out with the project, we've got about 10 people working on this project which is kind of insane. And I guess I should take a moment now to just run through them all and name them all to you because it feels appropriate. So, of course, we've got myself. I am the project lead, and I think my official title I gave myself was Harry Potter Speedrunning Network, Speedrunning Updates Network lead and founder. I, I created the channel. I founded it back in February of last year, 2023, and I have been working hard on it ever since. And I am the lead of the project, so ultimately the buck stops with me. If something goes wrong, at the end of the day, the liability falls to me. In a sense, because it's my it's technically my channel. I own the channel, I own the Discord, which I will talk more about later, and I own basically all of our content. That sounds a bit possessive. No, but it's my project. I've just brought on these amazing people who have either expressed interest, they've applied for roles, which again I'll talk a bit more about later, or they've just, they've offered their services. So we'll start with, I'm just looking through we have a Meet the Team channel in our Discord server, and I'm just literally reading down that list. Second on this list is the head of closed captions, the wonderful Winter Storm 37, absolute queen. Winter is one of the unsung heroes of the recap channel. If you've ever read the captions on a recap episode, they were provided by the wonderful Winter, and often supported by Henrik and sometimes Sonia too. That's Sonia Douglas _ I must emphasize, just to annoy her a little bit further. But yeah, we could not do this project without Winter, although her involvement doesn't it's. I was about to say something, and I realized it makes it sound like I'm really trying to downplay her involvement. I'm not. Winter is an incredible contributor to this project, and for anyone that is needing of accessibility features like subtitles, Winter takes the scripts that I've written and turns them into subtitles and times them, and it's been so little work for me. Like, I think we've had 1 month where the software that she uses has just gone weird or something, and it just started adding random accents everywhere. But besides that, you know, uh, it's been pretty good. Now, I should emphasize, like when I go through these names, that a lot of these people are either in some form of education or in work, either part-time or full-time. And Winter is someone who is currently in work full-time. And when the March recap came out, found herself very busy with a lot of work. So unfortunately, at the time of recording, the March and the February recaps don't currently have subtitles. But Winter is working on this. She's working on it in the background, and I'm very grateful to her for that. And I believe she's also getting help from Henrik too. So I'm very grateful to the wonderful both of them. Anyway, moving on to other people that I'm grateful for. Actually, the first person that joined the team sort of in a more production capacity is Blaze Knight, who is the HP Insiders project lead. Originally, Blaze was our first guest host on the recap, back when we called them guest hosts, and he was also sort of my first sort of help with writing the scripts and stuff. Back when I used to work on writing. Oh my word, that feels like ages ago now. But yeah, he was a great help, and now he heads up HP Insiders, which is a really cool project. Our flagship podcast, which I should say at this point because we've got 3 now with this one. But yeah, sorry, I don't know why I'm sniffling. I've been fine all day, but now I'm sniffling. Like, thanks, nose. One sec. I'm just gonna have a quick moment. But yeah, Blaze is wonderful. Has done the amazing HP Insiders with me and Flo, of course. He did have one book in with Nixo, but as seems to be plaguing the team, sickness is a very real thing. And unfortunately, that one had to be moved because of sickness. So it will still be happening, I believe. I just don't think he's got round to setting another date for it yet because Nixo is currently on break because it is his birthday, and it's actually his birthday on the time I'm recording this. So happy birthday, Nixo, from past Miney. Moving on, we have our first writer on the project. We have the wonderful Nikki, who is our head of writing on the team. He is in charge of writing our recaps every month. He does a fantastic job, which I'm very grateful for because it takes a lot of pressure off of my play, and I'm able to focus on making the recaps even better with my editing and stuff like that. Nikki is very much appreciated in that regard, and he has very quickly developed a style, a sort of a rhythm that I think works really well, and we've got to the point now where I think we've ironed out this really good formula for a recap episode of making sure that there's informative stuff and also the little funny bits that we do. Like in the most recent recap, we had Nikki's cult section, which I think I will talk a bit more about later because that was a joy to do, and it's honestly, I think that's my proudest moment of a recap to date. It might not be, in my opinion, the best, but I think it was the moment where multiple elements came together really well. Speaking of multiple elements coming together really well, we have the wonderful Henrik, who is our head of quality control, is his official title. But Henrik is essentially a bit of a proofreader for some of the scripts. He's helping me to translate some of the scripts into more readable versions for potential future projects. And he's also my co-host on Recap Rewind, which I'm very grateful for, because I'm realizing now while recording this podcast just how awkward it is trying to do something on your own. It's very awkward. But I love working with Henrik on this sort of stuff. He's also the master of the reader, of course, and I'm very grateful to him for his contributions to the project. Speaking of contributions to the project, and I talked a little bit about how people got into the project, and one of the things I mentioned was people reaching out to me and sort of expressing an interest to help, and that's exactly what our next person did, which was Pax. Pax is our leader of shorts, and he sort of reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm up for helping to do some stuff if you want," and I said, "Hey, would you be interested in taking over our short form content?" For those of you that don't know, we aim to release a short every Sunday. It used to be Saturday, but it's now moved to Sundays with the announcement of Showcase Saturdays. But yeah, we aim to release a short every week. It's been a little bit touch and go lately because both me and Pax have had IRL stuff going on. Plus, Pax has just been really busy with work. Again, like I say, pretty much everyone on the team is either in some form of work or education, or like me, who I'm just busy with other stuff. But yeah, so I'm very much appreciative of him for him contributing as much as he can. Speaking of people in work, though, we have the wonderful Starlight Sims, who is our writer and production advisor. SOS comes from a acting background and a sort of theatre production background, so he has a lot of experience in how productions work. So he's actually been a great help in helping to refine some of our processes internally and how we produce content. And I hope that you guys have sort of noticed the changes that have come from that in the past month or so. Like, I feel like the content is coming out now this year much smoother. And a lot of that is thanks to SLS's input, which suggesting things that seem very simple, not to downplay his advice, but suggesting things that on the grand scheme of things seem incredibly simple, but until someone says it, you don't often think about it, kind of thing. So that and then we have iMac, who is also a writer for the project. He has joined most recently. He is our newest addition to the team, and yeah, he is a writer. Of course, also famously known as iMac in the automatic subtitles of Portal's Chunga's history video. But yeah, iMac is new to the team, but is helping contribute towards this month's recap, I do believe. So that'll be exciting, and I'm looking forward to his involvement with the team. Anyway, that is our team. Our core team, I should say. We do also have a bunch of other people that help out with stuff. We have the wonderful Jinx, Rook, and Wrench 105, who are our prefects, as I refer to them. They're essentially the moderators of our community. They are the people that are moderators that aren't part of the team on the Twitch, and generally just keep an eye on things for me on the YouTube and also on the Discord too. And obviously, once the Discord goes public, they'll be play more of an active role in that. We also have, on top of that, we have our recap informers, which is a specialized person in each community of the series to sort of be able to provide more information. Now, for PC, we have the wonderful Portal Guide 10,000. 1000, I forget exactly which numerical number it is at the end of his name. For PS1, we're currently recruiting, but I think I have someone, so fingers crossed on that. For 6th gen, we of course have the wonderful Blaze Knight. And for handheld, we have Starlight Sims. So there is some crossover with the main team, but the idea is essentially just people that are experts in their respective fields, so that if something comes up, they can report it to us, and then we can put it through the filter of, is this something we want to include in the recap? Because, like, a lot happens in a month, and it sort of starts to question what is noteworthy enough to feature in a recap, which is always a tough job for me, at least, to sort of go there and be like, okay, that's important enough, but that achievement's not important enough. And it's something that I've been really trying to get right over the past couple of months, because I don't want to obviously upset anyone by their thing not being included in the recap. I think we're trying to find a good balance with that, and of course we're always open to feedback. If you guys have any, please do let us know. I'd be very interested to hear it. But yeah, so that is kind of the team. And in terms of the content we're producing at the moment, we have a sort of round number of about 5 shows with a potential 6 on the way soon. So we have obviously now the newest show, which you're listening to right now, The Debrief, which is my editorial show, like I mentioned earlier. We have HP Insiders. We have the recap itself. We have the community interviews that generally correspond with a recap. We have Recap Rewind. And then we have the other series that is currently being devised and worked on, and probably won't happen this month because the person who's working on the project is Starlight Sims. And he is obviously very busy this month with Potagon stuff, because for those of you that don't know, this month on the 25th and the 26th of May, we'll be raising charity for the Trevor Project at Potagon, non-HP games event for HP runners. Submissions at the time of release are still open, and I believe are open until the 5th at 23:59 European Standard Time. So Central European time, sorry. So you've got until the 5th of May to make your submissions if you haven't already. If you're listening to this and you want to contribute, we'll also be looking after submissions close for stuff like hosts, tech support, restreamers and tech people, etc. So keep your eye out on Discord as well for updates about that. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the content that has come out in April, because there was 2 videos that came out in April. Of course, we had the recap that came out on the 13th, and we also had the rewind, which came out on the 17th. The recap was hosted by the wonderful Nikki, who also wrote the recap, and I can tell you now, Nikki has learned not to include so many numbers in his scripts, because he learned while reading it that reading a lot of numbers is kind of tedious. Like, he's still obviously going to include them where they're necessary. He's not just going to scrap them all together. But it was something that he very much realised and he spoke to me about. He's like, I'm just not going to include as many anymore, because yeah, it's when you have to read like specific numbers, like a 142.53 or like a 244.36 or a 744.39 or a 10.27.42. You know, I was making those numbers up on the fly. I'm not reading from any of them, but even then I'm struggling to, like, you know, connect the dots with reading it. And it sounds like a weird thing to say, but it is difficult. Honestly, I recommend trying to read times, because obviously there's a lot of time-based numbers that we have in this in this series. But yeah, it was hosted by Nikki and was contributed to by a whole bunch of wonderful people, including Ilish, actually, contributed to this month's recap. I want to particularly call out Ilish and Luke, Jute de Luke, for their contributions, both in a graphical sense, actually. Ilish was the person who devised the cult graphics that you saw when Nikki began his HP6 cult, which I still haven't forgiven him for. And also the wonderful Luke was the person who collected all together the memes that we showcased in the recap. And I'm very grateful for that, and I'm really proud of how that meme segment came out. I have to say that is one of my favorite segments of this month's recap. Is that meme segment? When I had the idea to get the AI generated voices to read the memes out, and like the zooming and stuff, I was like, this is gonna be really cool. And I love it when it's like, my favourite line from the recap this month is when the AI goes, "You have alerted the frog," when it reads that meme out, and it's great. Also, I love the way some of the names got completely butchered. Like Defindo will turn into Defindo, and I think Cass got turned into Cass. But I was like, that's kind of adds to the AI memeness of it. But yeah. So yeah, that's sort of the recap, and sort of the 2 people that I really want to thank for their contributions to this month's recap. And then we had the rewind, which featured myself. Henry was back from being occupied in February, and we were also joined, of course, by Nikki, the host of the recap, and we were also joined by Porto, who was very good to talk to us about tournaments, his experience with tournaments, and also his general sort of opinions on the frog strat. I sort of talked a bit more about that, as well as also why memeing, in his opinion, is okay in tournaments, and why he doesn't agree with the opinion that memeing ruins the fun times or is disrespectful to your opponent. Basically, I should say, like I say, it's been about half a month since we recorded the rewind, so my memory is somewhat lagging, which I didn't think it would be, but it is late for me when I'm recording this, so maybe that's my info. Anyway, so yeah, that was the rewind and that was the recap. Those were the only 2 pieces of content we produced this month. So while this is a debrief show, I do want to take a quick look at the month ahead. We have coming out this month, we have our community recap, of course. We have our recap rewind. We have an interview, hopefully, that should be going through. We're just trying to finalize the details because it's potentially going to be another interview that's not going to be in English, due to the runner who we're talking to's comfortability. We are hoping to return to shorts. All being well, you should have seen a short on Sunday, on the channel. Talking about Polygon submissions being open. I hope I've got that out. Um, and then that's sort of the general plan. Again, I don't think we're going to be able to get the I know you said what it was then. I very nearly leaked what the new series is. I don't think we're going to be able to get the new series SLS is working on out for May, just because, like I say, he's very busy, obviously, with Polygon prep. Or at least will be towards the middle to the end of this month, of course. So I don't know how that's going to go, and that may end up coming not happening until June. But I'm excited, and also, of course, it was announced in this month's recap that we have Saturday Showcase, which is a cool idea that Blaze Knight and Nikki are sort of taking charge of on the Twitch channel. Essentially, every Saturday, or at least every Saturday where there's not a event that's like someone else is running going on, like Polygon, Polyphon, of tournaments. They're going to be hosting like a sort of showcase runs, mini tournaments that might not, make a full conventional tournament, but would still be cool to have, like maybe a Kalendo tournament, that kind of thing. And they're going to be hosting those, and that's sort of their project, and very much in like the HPSR Updates Network. I sort of consider us like a TV station. Like, I am the manager. I'm like the director general of the network, and then you've got people like Blaze Knight, who they make Blaze makes, like I said, HP Insiders, and that's his project. I don't touch that very much. Like, the only real thing I sort of touch with that is asking, sort of working with him scheduling wise and stuff like that. I don't really like butt in with that because that's his project. Like Showcase Saturdays, I'm overseeing from a managerial point of view, but I'm not gonna get involved too much. I might submit something, and I mean, I hope it gets in because I am the general manager. But you know, like, I'm gonna probably run something at the event, but I'm not planning to make a habit of, dipping my toes into that. That's their project, and like this new project that SLS is working on, that's his project. With the people that he's working on it with. I will, of course, keep an eye on things, make sure that we're not, crossing any boundaries or saying anything offensive, which from SLS I very much doubt. If you saw the end of February's recap, sorry, you will understand what I mean by that. But yeah, but that's what I kind of like. I like being able to trust these people and let them run through with their project, and then just sort of have this be a central hub for stuff like that. And I'm very proud to be in charge of such a wonderful team. So that's sort of what is coming up. And that's sort of really, I think, all I really wanted to talk about. Oh, I did want to talk about the schedule, because until recently we hadn't actually had a schedule sort of for the channel. Like, we tried to aim for certain times, but things hadn't really worked out. So this is what we've got now, and I should emphasize this is for the YouTube channel. Things will revolve differently on Twitch. So, on the 1st of every month, we'll have our debrief episode, which again will be hosted by me. If there's an element where having another person on would be useful, like maybe having SLS on to talk about when his new series starts, then maybe we could do that. But the idea essentially is it's just me, and I'm talking about the editorial stuff. Then on the 6th, if there is an HP Insiders episode, there will be one. Like I said, that series ideally is monthly, but I can tell you now there won't be one this month. Again, Blaze is just busy with stuff, like life. That's the inevitable thing about this. Like, this project is I was once asked why it takes like so long for a recap to come out. And honestly, the reason is that, like, this isn't like our jobs. We're not working on this as like a full-time thing. We're working on this around other things. So, like, unfortunately, sometimes the recaps are just going to take longer to drop because of that fact, and it kind of sucks, but unfortunately, it is what it is. I wish they could be out quicker, but I don't want to rush the people that are working on them. Plus, obviously, we're all very busy in our own lives. Um, then on the 13th will be that monthly recap that I talked about, uh, which is our flagship series, of course. On the 15th, if there's an interview, a full interview that's corresponding to that recap, it will release on the 15th. And then on the 17th, we will be releasing our Recap Rewind episode. Which is the podcast which we record live on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/HPSR Updates. If you want to find out more about that and sort of get notified when we record that, go follow us over on Twitch. We're trying to hit 50 followers, sorry, on Twitch. Also, speaking of subscribers, by the way, we are 4 followers. I marked it up again. We are 4 subscribers, sorry, off of 100 subscribers on YouTube. So if you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button if you happen to be listening to this on YouTube. And if you're listening on Spotify, we are also on YouTube. And you may also be very confused because with Spotify podcasts, it's very much like a separate entity. Like each show is separate. So I would understand in why if you were confused about what we're talking about. But if you go to HPSR Updates on YouTube, you should find us and know a bit more about what's going on. And and then finally, towards the end of the month, I'm not going to say specific dates yet. The new series that's being worked on will release. Like I said, that's not going to be happening, I doubt, this month, but hopefully in June. I did it again. I did it yesterday. I combined June and July and made Jaloon. And I've done it again. In June, hopefully we should have that for you. So yeah, that is essentially the notes that we've got for this month, and so the teasers for the months ahead. I do hope that you enjoyed. This feels sort of, I don't know, it's felt very awkward to record, but I enjoyed doing it at the same time. So if you guys have any feedback, suggestions, maybe I should bring on another person just to bounce off of, because I think whenever I'm trying to talk just on my own, I suck. So honestly, if you guys think I should bring on another person for these podcasts, let me know. Of course, please do provide your feedback to me on what you think about this series. And hopefully soon we'll have a nice Nancy logo too. Like every other series. To be fair, I kind of dropped this on Nikki very last minute, and I'm like, hey, I want to do this, and I'm planning to record it today and release it on the 1st, and it's like, okay. But yeah, soon, I mean, at the end of the day, this series doesn't need a fancy thing, because this isn't like one of our important shows. This is our editorial sit down talk with you guys, where we get to, well, I get to sort of talk about the project. But again, I want to pay a massive tribute to the amazing team that are working on this project, and I also want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has contributed to the channel so far, be it hosting a recap, contributing in a graphical sense, or any way you've contributed. It's very greatly appreciated, so thank you for that. But yeah, and we are, as I said earlier on, we are recruiting. We are looking for some roles. I believe at the moment the 2 that we are missing. Sorry, I've got really dry throat. I don't know why it happened, and it's very annoying. The 2 roles that we are missing at the moment are editor. We're looking for an editor, and we're also looking for a packager, essentially someone to pull the information into an upload before it hits YouTube or Spotify properly. Basically, put all the metadata in and all of the information that is important to that. So yeah, but anyway, that is going to be it for today's episode of the Debrief. We'll be back next month on the 1st of June for another update on the month of May and how it's gone. And I look forward to the month of July. But for now, that is it for this month's episode of the Debrief. Join us again next month for another Debrief. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Hello and welcome to the Debrief with me, Miney, the channel, not the channel lead, I'm the project lead. Fuck's sake. Hello and welcome to the Debrief with me, Miney, for Wednesday, the 1st of May, I should probably read it the way I've written it. That would probably be a good idea, wouldn't it? Okay.